Hey, welcome back, everyone. Life has a way of making us forget what's been provided for us. You wake up, you put on the uniform, you step into a role where so many of the basics are handled without you even thinking about it. Healthcare, training, equipment. And after years of living inside that system, it's what becomes our normal, to the point of almost feeling entitled. But when the time comes to step away, when you clock out for the last time, walk out of the station or out of the base gate, you'll realize how much was carried for you. That realization, it hits hard. It's not just the emotional weight of leaving behind the job, the team, or the identity you built. It's also the hidden price tag that comes along with the next chapter. The costs you didn't realize were waiting for you. Most people don't prepare. They ride their time in service right to that very end. Then they get blindsided by reality. That first insurance premium, having to go buy your own equipment, having to buy professional attire, that now you have to pay for all by yourself. The shock isn't just financial, it's psychological. Here's the thing, you don't have to let it crush you. If you start planning now, you can step into your next life with at least a little peace of mind. Because transition isn't just about leaving something behind. It's about building what's coming next. So with that, let's get into round 91 of the Tactical Transition Tips. This time the topic is the hidden costs. For the close range group, those of you looking at your transition right away, or you're less than a year out, the immediate cost of transition. When you get out, bills you haven't had to pay, they'll be waiting. So be ready for them. For the medium range group, those of you looking at your transition in 5 years or so, build a transition buffer fund. You've got time to build a small life raft because savings is freedom when you transition. And for the long range group, those of you just starting your careers, you've got at least a decade before your transition. Start a legacy savings. Commit early, because what feels small now becomes the foundation your family stands on later. Close range group. You're not thinking about transition like it's something off in the distant future. You're living it right now. That calendar is square in your face. You know that in less than a year, you're going to take off the uniform and you're going to step into a very different world. You need to face reality. The second you walk away from this career, expenses you're used to having covered are going to be yours. And let's be honest, if you haven't done this already, there's not enough time to really build a huge savings cushion. But what can you do? Well, what you have to do is get brutally clear about the expenses that are coming your way. In your career, you've been shielded from a lot of those costs. Even some of your living expenses were subsidized. And when you're on the job, you probably don't even think about it. You just got used to it. But once you step out, a lot of this responsibility is going to fall on you. Healthcare is the first and usually the biggest shock for most. If you've been fortunate, you may have had nothing that you've had to pay, or close to nothing during your career. But in civilian life, those premiums, those deductibles, those co-pays, they get real fast. And for families, those costs can be a gut punch. Don't assume you'll deal with it once you're out. Research it now. Understand the numbers before they come from your bank account. And let's not forget something as simple as what you have to wear to work. For years, you've had uniforms or your gear provided to you, or at least an allowance towards uniforms. In the civilian world, you're buying your own. Suits, dress shoes, dress shirts. And unlike your uniforms, those costs aren't tax deductible. That might sound small, but it adds up quick, especially when you need to dress the part every single day. The other thing is certifications and licensing. Those can blindside you. You want to move into corporate security, project management, private investigations. You're going to need credentials, and you'll be paying for them yourself. Many of these costs aren't optional. You don't get to choose whether or not you pay them. They're the price of admission into your new career. So what should you do? First, stop assuming that you'll just make it work. Start researching now. Identify what healthcare costs are going to look like for you and your family. Find out what the benefit packages are of any job you're targeting. Look at possible jobs from a different angle. Yes, job A might be the one you want, but job B gives you a better benefits package. The other thing is, don't just accept what they offer. Try negotiating a better benefits package. Ask them what they'll cover. Will they reimburse for certifications? Will they give you a stipend towards relocating or your attire? Employers aren't always going to volunteer that information. You need to bring it up. And here's something that you really need to consider. If you look at the outside costs and realize they're more than you can handle, if you're carrying debt that's already weighing you down, maybe you delay your exit. Now, if you can't, then consider things like paying off your car, knocking down or paying off credit cards. You want to clear some space so you're not stepping into civilian life with an extra stress in your rucksack. Also, and this should be obvious, your savings. Set aside as much as you can right now. Even a small amount gives you some breathing room, gives you a bit of a safety net in case the first job doesn't come quickly or you don't last. I've actually got an episode coming out with, he was a Marine, he gets out, and his first job in the civilian space, he came at it like a Marine. He got fired. The reality is, with less than a year to go, you're probably not going to save a big enough buffer, but you should save as much as you can. But what's actually bigger than trying to stack money at this point is stacking knowledge. Because when you know what's coming, you take away its power to blindside you. The shock doesn't knock you off your feet. You see the bill and you could say, yeah, I planned for that. You walk into an interview and negotiate benefits because you've done your homework. You're not blindly taking whatever they offer. That's what preparation looks like. Right now, it's not about building wealth. It's about building awareness and a strategy. So here's your assignment. Write everything down that your organization is currently covering for you. Healthcare, uniforms, certifications, any training you go to, relocation when you have to, your car, meals. Do you eat a lot of them on duty? For each one, know what it costs you on the outside, and then look for opportunities to offset them, either by negotiating with future employers or by tightening your finances before you get out. Transition isn't gentle. It doesn't care if you're surprised. It doesn't care if you thought things would be easier. What matters is that you walk in with your eyes open. So don't wait to get blindsided. Know your costs. Be honest with your reality. And if the math doesn't work, maybe adjust your plan now. Because you don't want to be unprepared for the costs waiting on the other side. This October 28th and 29th, the Military Officers Association of America is bringing together 3,000 voices, military leaders, warfighters, veterans, and families at National Harbor in Maryland for their inaugural conference, Total Force Plus. This isn't just another military conference. It's a mission to advance solutions for our military and veteran community, including leadership development, quality of life, military transition, and maximizing the veterans' experience. It's all on the table. This is where the next generation of military solutions will be tackled, at the first and only military conference where people outrank everything. And because the mission is so important, MOA is making attendance free for those who are currently serving, the spouses of those currently serving, and all federal employees within the DoD and VA. Secure your seat now, as tickets are limited and offered on a first-come, first-served basis. Visit TotalForcePlus.org to see if you qualify for your free ticket and to register for the conference. Medium Range Group. You're not walking out the door tomorrow, but you can already see the end coming into view. Maybe it's 5 years down the road, maybe it's a little less. Either way, the timer has definitely started counting down. And the danger here isn't panic, it's complacency. Because when you're 3 to 5 years out, paycheck's still coming in steady, the benefits are still being covered, you're basically in your zone, and everything feels safe. But here's the truth. That time can vanish in the blink of an eye. So what can you do right now to better help yourself? Build a transition buffer fund. This isn't just an emergency stash. Think of this as a calculated and disciplined savings account. You want to cover at least 6 months, ideally a full year of living expenses, and not just the rent or your mortgage, groceries, all of it. Healthcare premiums, deductibles you're going to have to pay, your car, insurance, utilities, the gym, anything else that you know you're going to need. Now, why a year? Because a year changes the game. Picture this. You're at the end of your career. You've got, best case scenario, a full year of expenses saved. When you sit down with a potential employer, you're not desperate. You're not grabbing the first offer that shows up. You actually have the ability to negotiate. More important, you have the ability to wait for the right fit and make decisions with a clear mind. Compare that to somebody who has no buffer. They're taking the first paycheck that comes along, even if it drags them into a wrong role or a wrong position. Because unfortunately, survival comes first. That's the difference between control and chaos. Now, here's where you start. Get information. Get real about your future expenses. All your expenses are likely going to be very different when you step out. So don't guess. Run the numbers. Request quotes. Factor in the health care for you and your family. Maybe your spouse can start carrying the insurance. Look at the premiums. Look at the deductibles. They're likely going to be a lot higher than you're even expecting. Housing. If you're in the military, base housing is going to go away. If you're in the federal system, if you're getting a housing stipend, that's going away. Consider your vehicle. Consider your cell phone. All the things that you don't pay for now, once you transition, that safety net disappears. Something else you can do besides saving is attack your debt. Pay off any debts or loans that you can. Get the credit cards under control. Bottom line, get your monthly burn rate as low as possible. The less you owe, the less you have to pay, the more freedom you'll have. And don't forget professional development. If you know there's something that you're going to need to get the next career, a certificate, a degree, a license, a TS clearance, build getting these into your transition plan. Maybe you can get your organization to pay for it now. You might have to get creative, but if you can sell how it benefits the organization, they might foot the bill. I remember when I promoted to management, I was coming out of a task force assignment with the FBI. One of the things that sucked was I wouldn't be able to maintain my TS clearance. And I remember thinking to myself, what jobs might I lose out on later? But regardless of what it is, if you have a next career in mind and you know it requires something you don't have, find a way to get it. Even if you have to pay for it yourself, build those expenses into that transition buffer fund so that way you're not shocked later on. Now, let's be honest. None of this is exciting. saving money, cutting debt, making everyone's favorites, spreadsheets. There's no adrenaline rush. But this is still mission planning. This is recon before the operation. And if you take it seriously now, you'll save yourself a world of stress later on. And here's how you can put it into action. Open a separate account. Make the deposits automatic. Don't let this be something that you have to remember to do, because you likely won't. But think about it this way. 5 years of steady deposits, even if they're little, that's going to stack into something substantial. And every time you get a raise, don't inflate your lifestyle. Redirect that into this fund, because every extra dollar you feed into this account is future freedom. Here's the other benefit that a lot of people miss building is that building this fund isn't just about money. It's about mindset. Right now, you're all about the uniform. Mission first, service first. But you need to start making savings a part of your mission. Think of it as protecting your family, safeguarding your freedom, and securing your next chapter. Here's another reality check. Transitions don't always wait for your schedule. If you start building your buffer now, you're prepared if life forces you out earlier than you planned. I've seen it happen. People get forced out early for a variety of reasons, and they weren't ready largely because of their financial picture. Don't put yourself in that position. Building a transition buffer fund gives you options. It buys you time. It lets you say no when you need to. It gives you space to think and plan, and you're able to choose your next step with clarity instead of panic. So here's your mission. Start now. Automate your savings. Pay down your debt. Calculate the real costs for when you're out. Create that fund that will be your safety net. Treat it like it's untouchable. Not a vacation fund, not a splurge account. This is your QRF or your defense fund. You've been disciplined to serve for years. Apply that same discipline to your finances. Because the difference between struggling through transition and thriving in it often comes down to whether or not you built a buffer when you still had time. Hey, real quick, let's talk surfing and bourbon. The Pendleton Surf Club's all-military surf contest is happening October 9th through the 12th at Church Surf Break on Camp Pendleton. Whether you ride a longboard or a shortboard, if you're active duty, a veteran, or a military spouse, this is your chance to paddle out, compete, and connect. It's 4 days of nonstop action, pro-level judging, raffles, giveaways, and shared stoke with your crew on the sand. Your registration includes meals, contest swag, and the chance to take home the trophy. Spots are limited, and registration closes October 1st, so secure your place now at pendletonsurfclub.com. And for those whose ears perked up when I said bourbon, Pendleton Surf Club has released Board Shack Bourbon, crafted to celebrate the stories, the service, and the surf. Every penny from every bottle sold funds the event and supports the surfers. So even if you don't surf, you can support the event and enjoy some good bourbon. Grab your board, get your bottle, and help give back to military members and veterans. Go check out pendletonsurfclub.com. Long Range Group. You're not even close to stepping away from service. You've got a decade, if not likely more than that ahead of you. The idea of transition right now should to a degree feel foreign to you. But because it's out there, give it a little bit of your attention now. Later always shows up faster than you think. And if you wait until you're only a few years out, you'll miss the unique advantage you hold on to right now. Time. Time is your greatest asset. And what you do with it today can set you up not just for a smooth transition, but for something bigger, a legacy. That's why your focus should be on building legacy savings. Legacy savings isn't a rainy day fund. It's about building wealth steadily, month after month. This is the foundation of your financial future, which becomes the foundation your family stands on long after this career. If you do research on wealthy people, they pay themselves first. They build the foundation to secure future independence. And the earlier you start, the more powerful compounding becomes. Now, let me be clear. I am not giving financial or investing advice. I'm simply saying, develop a plan where your future is your priority. Commit to setting aside as much as you can afford over the duration of your career. That money will then have the time and ability to grow. Then, when opportunities will come, and they will come, you'll have the financial means to try things. Maybe you get into real estate investing. Maybe it's creating your own company. Maybe it's becoming a silent investor. However, if you did nothing with it, imagine over 20 or so years what a nest egg like that could allow you to do after transition. You'd likely not have to work. That's the power of time. Small habits today become massive results tomorrow. But here's what's the more common scenario. Most people in our careers live at their maximum. There's a false sense that the money will always be there. And if they need more, they just work overtime. They spend what they earn. And they put themselves in an endless breaking point with no options should something change. Don't be that person. Start your legacy savings. Automate it. Don't give yourself the option of choice. Whatever you're making, take a percentage and automatically move it into that account. Don't touch it. Then down the road a little bit, when it's got some time to grow some substance, get with a financial advisor and develop a plan to diversify it and grow more wealth. Think of it like a machine that just chugs in the background. Out of sight, out of mind. Yes, at first it's going to feel restrictive. You'll feel the pinch of living on less. But here's what happens. You adapt. Keep yourself at this level, and the growth you'll see tomorrow will make all the sacrifices today more than worth it. And let's talk lifestyle for a second. By living slightly below your means today, you keep yourself in a position of peace. Because if something unexpected happens tomorrow, you're able to push through it. You likely won't lose everything. That's independence. That's your shield. It gives you resilience if the world does shift around you. I'm sure you've already seen it. We've all worked with those coworkers who got to work every single OT shift they can get their hands on. But there's also those coworkers who don't drive the newest cars. They don't buy every new toy. They don't try to keep up with the Joneses. Yes, it might be a little boring. Yes, it takes some discipline. But in the end, legacy savings buys you freedom to choose. People always say you won't get rich from these careers. This is true, sort of. You won't get rich and live the 100-mile-an-hour lifestyle. But if you live with a little discipline, you can definitely position yourself to be wealthy tomorrow. And knowing that when you hang up the uniform, you'll be stepping onto a foundation you built brick by brick, that's leadership at its purest form. So here's your objective. Set up your legacy savings account. Automate it. Treat it as a non-negotiable. Learn to live on less and let compounding work in your favor. Start with as much as you can. The amount, though, matters less than the habit, because 2 decades from now, your family will thank you. You have the gift of time. Use it. Build your legacy savings and make sure that when your career ends, your options are almost limitless. All right, let's close this out. There are parts of these careers that feel so natural, so built into the daily rhythm, you almost forget they're here. The benefits, the support, it all feels steady, reliable. It's almost permanent. But nothing in this world stays permanent. At some point, you'll step away and you'll find yourself on the other side of a career you gave so much to. That's when the reality hits. Transition is coming. Whether you're at the edge right now or you're still over a decade away, The day will arrive. And when it does, the strength of your landing won't be decided in that moment. It'll be decided by the choices you made leading up to it. So plan for the immediate, build your buffer, and stack your legacy. Because the difference between control and chaos comes down to whether or not you prepared for the hidden costs. If you stayed until this point, thank you. Staying till the end definitely helps the engagement ratings. I'd really appreciate it if you could give me any comments. Tell me what I'm doing right. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. Tell me what I'm not giving you. Please reach out to me on social media, send me an email. The links are all in the show notes. Another thing, please share the podcast with anyone you think could benefit from it and enjoy it. And last, don't forget to sign up for the newsletter.